Hello and welcome to another Filmmaker Follies. I am talking to you from my bathtub. You're welcome. I'm not gonna get any lower than this. I charge for that. But I just got back from my trip of being a special guest at Authors and Dragons Con. Now, for those of you who may only be watching these clips, found me randomly on YouTube, and are not a fan of mine, I was hired by this group of book authors to make a feature film adaptation of their book series called Shingles. It's basically a parody satire of Goosebumps, except for adults. It's a real good time. They wrote a script taking 5 of their books and gave it to me and said, hey, can you make this? I told them the budget, told them my salary. That's another video. Point is, made the movie. They already love it. They've seen so little of it, but they love being on set. They love seeing what I was doing. They love that I was under budget and on schedule. That's how I roll. And then, they were hyped. So last year at their con, they brought me as a special guest. At first, just being like, oh, it's the guy that made Care as Hell, that movie we talked about on the podcast. And then it was a surprise that they were actually announcing the Shingles movie. And the audience went nuts. Like, this is a very small niche thing, but they have enough fans that they have a convention every year that people fly to, so they care. So this year, they had it, last year was in Nashville, so we went to Nashville. This year was in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the last time I was in Charlotte was for a not-so-happy reason. It was also business, and I couldn't see any of it, so this time, Aline and I were like, let's make the plans to get there early, do some stuff, and then we'll also work the con, because that's what we're there for. Aline Isley is the line producer on Shingles. She's an actor in many of my things, co-writer from time to time. She won Best Villain of 2022 at a film festival. I forget which one. And so they were also excited to have her. They asked if I can get any other Shingles people. I tried a few that were busy. And so we ended up going with Ian Sunny, who plays Jimmy Hitchcock, one of the leads. Jenny Hoppus, who plays Buick, one of the other leads. And we got our friend B. Gressive, absolutely her government name. And she has a small role in the film, but she has a lot of fun. The authors liked her on set. She is like a model, so she does have stuff to promote and talk about. And a couple of her fans were coincidentally also fans of Authors and Dragons. So there's some crossover. So we did a road trip from Pittsburgh, don't dox me, to Charlotte, which isn't a bad drive. But it has been a while since I drove that far, between working on the movie, the pandemic. The last time I drove this far, all at once, was Nashville last year. So on the way down, I was not in road trip mode yet, and I was the first one driving. I drove for the first 5 hours, but I had to stop to pee 3 times, otherwise I was going to piss my pants, and usually that never happens. Usually I'm good for 4 hours or something. But it is what it is, so we stopped here. We stopped at the little gas station that was the only one on the sign, and I thought it was way closer to the road, and it was not. It was a mile away, which isn't that far, but I was about to piss my pants. Got out of the car, bathroom out of order, and I just kind of sighed. But all of the hillbilly dudes are out at the barbecue eating, and the one lady working is talking to someone, so I just walk outside, and I walk behind the gas station into the woods, because this is in the mountains, and I just piss. I just piss on the ground like an animal. But it worked. Then I got back in the car, said nothing of it, and continued driving. On the way down, I almost made us 2 hours late because I saw a sign for biplane rides, and I love flying. I used to fly little single engines with my dad. Love aviation. So almost pulled off, but I didn't because I know how long it takes to prep a plane, take off, whatever the tour is, probably 15-20 minutes, land, get out, not to mention the paying and everything else. So I passed that. I'm opening the door a little bit so the air conditioning can get in here, don't mind me. Very hot. So then Alina and I pass off. We hit traffic for the first time just outside of Charlotte, which we expected. We get to the hotel, which is a Hilton by the university. Very nice hotel, at least our experience. The room was very nice, the bed was very nice. Wish the pillows were a little thicker or a little thinner. I don't know how often you stay in hotels, but it was one of those situations where one pillow isn't enough, but two pillows is way too much. Oops. But that's it. If that's the worst thing I can say about the room, and that was the worst thing I could say about the room. Otherwise, it was very pleasant, very nice. I walk in, I greet the authors. They're super excited to see me. It feels great. You know, they're super excited to see Aline. And I'm like, okay, I need to eat before I sign anything, because they had a bunch for me to sign, but I'll get to that. So I'm going to go eat. I need to get a shot for this movie, Amityville Christmas Vacation, because it was right on like this little super tiny lake. It was more like a pond. It was more like a big pond, at least the park we were by. But it's a great shot. Looks nice. It's basically a magic hour. Super happy with that. So I always look ahead for trips. And not like dedicate plan, but like come up with a basic idea of a plan for, you know, kind of what's around to eat and kind of what day might be the best day for some of the places. So the Thursday night, since this was kind of like a boardwalk area that I think a lot of people are going to be at on the weekend, especially with the convention, tonight, on the Thursday night, we went to the Crab Shack. I think it's called the Crab Shack. I'll toss up a logo. And I don't know if it's a major chain, I don't know if it's just a place down in, Charlotte, but it's a crab place. And we don't get crab too often up here in like the East/Midwest, who you ask. It's not the Midwest, but some people call it that. And it was great. Like, they had a really good Cajun seasoning. I asked for mild, and it was actually mild. Like, there was a nice heat, but it wasn't too bad. Elaine got medium, and it was very hot, but she loves that. B actually got like the big dick dinner for that had like lobster and crab and shrimp and something else. I don't know, but she loved it. It was a great meal. They had a Touch Tunes jukebox, so I did in fact play. I'm sorry. Only one. It's not unusual, but I did play 6 What's New Pussycats. Also 1 Kiss by a Rose and 1 The Christmas Song, because I was a god and they couldn't stop me. They could, but they didn't. So that was a really nice dinner. It was kind of like our big celebration dinner for the big road trip. And then the rest of the night we were just staying in. We stayed in, we did a bit of like a model shoot, but otherwise it was super easy. Before the shoot though, I did go back in and said, alright, hit me. And they had like 200 11x17 posters and 100 of these hardback Shingles the Movie, the books, which was like the screenplay, scans of the screenplay, all 5 books that were put into the screenplay. And it was really nice that they did an art version of the live action poster that I designed. It was a really nice collectible. I think they sold it for $65, and they sold at least 50 copies, which is why I think this movie's going to do okay, and there might be a Shingles 2, because they have more avenues of revenue than only the movie. I digress. So yeah, I had to sign like 300 things, like I matter, and I don't. But that was kind of a fun experience. I hung out with like a few people that were helping the convention. All the authors at that point finished, so good, go drink, go relax. I was the one that was late. Signed it all, real good time. Joked with everyone, shooting the shit, being charismatic like I am. And then that was that night. Took a shower. I shower at night. Kicked back and just had a okay sleep because it was the first time in a new place. So wake up the next day. Now the convention does not open until 3 o'clock on Friday. So again, with the plan of let's do some stuff, because last time we couldn't do anything, we looked ahead for some stuff to do. One of the things that I was super excited for was going to the Aviation Museum in Charlotte, which is closed until next year, and I was very angry. So what we did this morning was we went to an aquarium. I think it's called Sea Life, and I never heard of this before. Apparently it's a chain around the world. Like, there's a bunch of it in Europe, there's a bunch of it all over America, and like they're in a bunch of malls specifically. I don't know how they built an aquarium inside of a mall, but they did. It's like the Rainforest Cafe of aquariums. There's a bunch of them in malls. But it was really good for being in a mall. Like, it was about a half an hour long tour. I think tickets were like, I'm not even gonna guess, somewhere between 20 and 25 bucks each, which is a little high, but it's, they're also like a conservationist company, and like they help sick turtles and what have you. So I didn't mind that. And you could use the tickets all day. It wasn't like you're in, you're out. They outright said at the start, okay, you're good to go. You can come back all day long. You know, if you want to come back later to see different fish, if you want to see the turtle, if he's asleep, come on back. You're good. So that was nice. But we did that tour, got some great pictures, super cute, loved it. Barely anyone there because we got there at 10 a.m. Although the Gashapon machine directly across from the Sea Life, I tried to get a Kingdom Hearts figure, and it ate my tokens 3 times, and I didn't get a figure, so I'm very upset about that. I'm trying to get a refund. Won't happen. But from there, we were like in this new mall. I forget what it's called. I'll put up a logo. And I was like, let's poke around, because this is a place we've never been before, and we don't have anywhere to go until lunchtime, which I'm getting to next. So we started walking. It's a 1-floor mall, but it's wide. It is vast. I forgot to say, we parked outside of the Sea Life, and it was next to like this go-kart track thing, and that was just cool. We didn't go though. Walking through, I see a Lionel store, Lionel Trains. I've never seen a Lionel store in my life. I go in. It's already set up for Christmas. I am in my element. Snowy towns, Christmas trees. I'm having a great time. From there, we went to like some geek store that was very overpriced on almost everything, but I was able to finally find a Turbo Man pop figure. Don't care about pops that much, but I love Jingle All the Way, and it was retail price. Food court looked good, but we weren't eating at the mall. Stopped at the Lego store, which B was very excited about. Aline got the Haunted Mansion Lego set, and this like Halloween Black Cat Lego set, which is adorable. Stopped at this video game store, which I thought would have a lot more older used games, but the few that they had were like super rare. You know, like I don't need to spend $100 on this 32X game, especially when it's the 32X game, one of the few that I own. Saw Xenogears there for $150, and I just laughed about how I still have my Black Label mint condition. I just lost the instruction manual somewhere in my house. So I didn't get anything there. Aline got a stuff, a Pokemon, I forget which one. And maybe I'll take a picture. I'm not putting that much effort into this. This is just meant to be talking. We stopped at the Bass Pro Shop because B and Aline had never been inside of one. It was one of those like outdoor world ones. So we went in and like it's a forest jungle, and they weren't expecting that. There was another aquarium in there. I didn't have to pay for an aquarium ticket. We could have just taken them there. On the way out, we grabbed some chocolate. And we finished routing them all, and I said, okay, time for the real star today. Online, I'd seen a place, I was looking for places to eat by the mall, so we didn't have to worry about it on the drive back, and I saw a place that sounded hilarious called Razoo's, and that name made me giggle. Then I clicked on it and looked at the menu. It looked like a basic sort of chain Cajun restaurant menu, which meant I wasn't expecting, delectable food, but like the Jazz Kitchen is a chain Cajun restaurant, and they have good food. And then I looked at the logo, and the logo is a depressed frog that looks like he wants to commit suicide. And I immediately fell in love with Razoo's. I had to go to Razoo's. I could not stop talking about Razoo's for the 2 weeks leading up to the trip. I needed to eat there, and I needed a novelty glass to take home. So we get there, and the entire time I'm saying, I'm going to get a gator steak. It's been so long since I had a gator steak. When we were in Nashville, we just had gator bites. Not the same thing. I want a gator steak. Born in Florida, I need that gator. B tries to order a gator tail because either she hasn't had it before or she hasn't in a long time. She's super excited. So I roll out of the gator tail. Do you still have gator steak? Right now, no gator. Rolling my menu in the air. I'm like, okay, give me a few minutes. So that's the first annoyance, but whatever. So I did gumbo and jambalaya, and the gumbo was good. Not amazing, but good. It was good gumbo. The jambalaya was not good. It wasn't bad, but it was like the most Applebee's bullshit jambalaya possible. Like, there was like no flavor. The pasta was mediocre. The sausage was okay, and that was it. So I made it through half of that jambalaya before I just called it there. I did get a drink there, the American Dream or whatever it was called, and it was delicious. And I did get my novelty Razoo's pint glass that is at home, and I'm going to use it all the time. And talk about Razoo's like it's a mecca, even though it is not. So then we started to head back to the convention. Went upstairs, grabbed all of my movies, because I had a lot. I got 12 titles on disc right now. DVDs and Blu-rays, too. So we made it downstairs, set up. They gave us 3 booths at the back of the vendor hall, which was very small because it's a smaller show. But like they gave us a primo spot so that as soon as you walk in, you see us. We set up props from the movie. Was selling some screen use props from the movie. Made money off of that, which was very nice. And set up all my movies. And we sat down and started hanging out, and immediately people were showing up. Buying movies, buying the deck building games. We sold out the Shingles deck building game in 10 minutes. And I only took 4 copies because only 4 people pre-ordered it, but like people wanted it and that felt nice. I forgot to say, before we opened, I'm an idiot, there was the opening ceremony where usually it's just the authors, they're on stage, they talk, they introduce the guests, John tells some jokes. But this time John was like, why don't you like introduce your people? Because you know them. And you know exactly who's here. I'm like, yeah, you got it. So John started doing a spiel. He introduced the authors. He introduced a few of the guests, like the musical guests and stuff. And then he introduced me. And I popped up, got my Thirst Trap Championship belt on. I am pro wrestling it up. People are cheering. I'm egging them on. I'm like, come on, is that all you got? Making the place go nuts. I run up there. I take the mic out of his hands like, thanks, John. I'll take it from here. And I introduce everyone down the line and like just announce them hard. Aline as the best villain of 2022, and you can find out why tonight at the Carousel 2 screening. We got Be Aggressive, Jimmy Headshots, Dream Woman, Do a Spin, yeah. Jenny Hoppus, the most fucked up person on set that made the script way worse than it originally was, yeah. And there's and Sonny, you know him better as Jimmy fucking Headshot. And because people have been hyped for Jimmy Headshot since like the first cast announcement. People have been like, this is exactly how I picture Jimmy. Can't wait to meet Jimmy. So, drove everyone nuts. I get off the stage and the officers are all like, dude, that was amazing. I'm like, yeah, it's the pro wrestling fan in me. You become a carny. So then we did all the selling. Sold movies, sold games. I did a playthrough of the Shingles, the movie, the game, with a few fans, and Ian and Jenny, so they can get like reminded of the rules. And that was fun. Aline kept selling stuff while I was gone. I had to keep signing stuff. People kept on walking up to me while I'm playing this game, and I had to sign stuff. It was surreal. This is not the first time I've been a special guest at a convention, but it is possibly the first time I've been treated as this big of a deal. So that night we have the Carousel 2 screening at 9 p.m., but the Authors and Dragons, when they do like their big events, like no one is on the floor. Everyone's in the showroom. So I was like, okay, at 7 we're gonna go get dinner, and then we'll be back in time. So there's this place called Boardwalk Billy's that was like right next to the craft room. Like that's a smaller place. Most of the people are probably eating in here. It'll still be busy because it's a Boardwalk Friday night, but we should be fine. We get there. Well, first they get there. I go up to the room first to drop off like the money box. And I walk up and Aline looks at me and says, it's a 45-minute wait. And I say, did you tell them that it's for Steve Rudzinski? And everyone laughed and said, why don't you go tell them? And then I looked inside and saw a group of fans. They were all cosplaying as the same character named Jorcerer. And I had overheard them say that they had a reservation for like 25, but only about 18 of them actually showed up and went. So I went up to them and said, hey, so we're a little late. Can we join you eating? And they're like, absolutely. Absolutely, Steve. Hell yeah. Please eat with us. So I let the hostess know. I had everyone else come in. And we skipped a wait, and I think I pissed off everyone waiting for a table, but we got there. And we sat down. I asked for the pulled pork, and I was told we are out of pulled pork. I threw the menu in the sky again. But then I got some fried flounder. I like flounder, and that was very good. It was very good. The hush puppies were very good. Good meal, good company, had a drink. Made it back to the convention for the Carousel 2 screening. Not a packed house, but a busy house, and it was like a ballroom. It wasn't just like a little conference room in a hotel, it was a ballroom, so a lot of people. Hyped them up before the showing, and the way I hyped them up was, I explained to them, and I'll kind of do verbatim what I said to them. I went, so, I want to show you this trailer of something new I've been working on. I was kind of dropping hints that I'm working on Amityville Christmas Vacation at the con, and telling them that I made this new movie, so this is what they're expecting. It's just this little trailer for this little movie. I just want you to see the sneak peek as a thank you for coming to Carousel 2 screening. Boom, it's the official Shingles trailer, which has not been made official as of this recording. and they lost their minds, and they were so excited. And then when it stopped, I turned to them and said, so, the Authors and Dragons asked me to have just a small clip for the Shingles panel tomorrow, and asked if I could have a trailer ready. And I said, yes. That's what they wanted me to have ready. So I have something else for you tomorrow. And immediately there was like this like a silence, but also making that sound. I'm like, but you have to wait till then. Let's play Carousel 2. Watch the movie. Great time. Everyone laughed a lot. Everyone booed when Robbie was getting hurt. Everyone cheered when the villains were getting murdered. Great time. Great screening. Went up. Thanked everyone. Round of applause. Great time. The next day, a lot of people came by there like, I haven't seen Carousel 1, love Carousel 2. Are these both of them right here? Thank you. I want to buy these. Perfect. So the next day, it was a case where the show starts at 10, and the Shingles the Movie panel was at 1. So I told Ian, I told Jenny, I told B, like, you don't have to be here until 1. Like, I was away from the booth last night. I'll stay at the booth in the morning. You just get down here by 1. 12:50 comes around. Aline's doing her playthrough, and I'm like, okay, we gotta go. And Aline's like, but the panel's not till 1:30. I'm like, no, it's not. It's at 1. No, it's at 1:30. They pull out the paper schedule. I see it's at 1:30. I'm like, I'm not insane. It was scheduled for 1. I don't know. I think it's always been 1:30. And I lose my mind, and I go to the digital Facebook page, and I bring up the schedule that they posted last week, and guess what? The Shingles panel was at 1. I'm not crazy. See? I told you I'm not crazy. Anyway, so we got an extra half hour. We just hang out. We sell some more stuff. People were getting excited meeting Jenny, getting excited meeting Ian, getting excited meeting B, getting excited meeting Aline. Everyone's having a great time. 1 o'clock. I'm in charge of the panel. I'm dead center. Once again, I introduce everyone. Everyone gets hyped. We're supposed to play the sneak peek first. Technical difficulties prevent that. So then I start talking to the cast. I ask the cast some questions. I open the questions for the audience. We get a couple. And then about 25 minutes later, finally, the sneak peek is ready. So then I announce, okay, so the Authors of Dragons, they wanted me to have a trailer ready. I showed that last night. What I brought was the first 8 minutes of the movie. You would have thought I announced Man of Steel 2 with Henry Cavill at San Diego Comic-Con. These people lost their minds. They were screaming, they were, cheering, clapping. It was crazy. So, we play the clip. They are eating it up. Eating it, like every scene, every moment, every kill. This is the greatest audience I've had in years. They've been itching for this. And the first 8 minutes is like the first half of the Jimmy Headshot story. And then we cut to like the wraparound stuff. And we cut to the wraparound, get more laughs. I replay the teaser trailer because the teaser trailer has like all the authors' names. It's because it's for their fans. And everyone loses their mind. Like, this is the best I've felt about this movie since Rap. Because usually when you make a movie, you're anxious the whole time until you show the first finished movie to an audience and you see how they react. And if you don't get that for months and months and months, so it keeps eating at you and eating you. But showing the first 8 minutes, which is, in my opinion, some of the least interesting parts of the movie. I think everything past that is way funnier and more interesting. If they like the first 8 minutes that much, I got no anxiety about this movie anymore. Felt wonderful. Then people kept asking a bunch of questions about the bloopers, about the set, some Carousel 3 questions, what's next. They started asking about Shingles 2, what could you do in Shingles 2, ideas for Shingles 2. I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes, guys. Let's finish Shingles 1, but that's still a good feeling. That's how passionate these people are. Again, we finished up, big cheers, went to the authors. They again were like, you got so much fucking charisma, dude. I'm like, yeah, I know. But it was very, very nice of them, very kind of them. I appreciated how well they're treating me and how much they were building me up, and their fans were building me up too. Went back to cell. Not much else to report here. We were at the show until I think the show closed officially at 5. And then they were doing more Authors of Dragons shows. And so we got into my car and drove a mile and a half away, because I knew there would be less people there, to a place called Blackow. I think that's how you pronounce it. And we were looking online, and it's like, this is a burger sushi restaurant. What the hell does that mean? We didn't know, so we got there. And there's no one there. They didn't have any booze. Might have been a reason why, because it's near a university. And I got a burger bento box. It was a little burger and a rainbow roll and some great cucumbers. And it was, not including the crab shack because I love crab, it was the best meal we had the entire trip. It was delicious. I loved it, and we all went together. It was a great time. It's a fun little like family dinner. It was a celebration because we just did the panel. You know, it's Ian and Jenny B's first convention, like as a guest. It's Ian's peak because he's young, but we had a great time, and everyone was like so happy and so excited, and like, I feel good about this. Like, and that's the kind of energy you want. You know, you want your actors to actually care about the movie you're in, so they talk about it. I've definitely made movies where no one cared about the movie, and that feels terrible. But anyway, so we get back, do some more rounds of the game. I think at that point we didn't have any major plans. We just started hanging out downstairs in like the game rooms and like drinking and playing games, like playing Mysterium, and Elena was playing Magic, the Commander version. I was playing the Shingles game more with people, and we just had a fun night. I called a little earlier than everyone else, just because, you know, when you're on all day, you're tired. And went to bed. It was a good night's sleep. Sunday, we, it was like a 10 to 3 day. So I got down there first. I thought I was going to sell no movies with how much everyone that cared, like, rushed to me on Friday and Saturday. No, on Sunday we kept selling more movies. And, like, we sold out of the Chaos Hell deck building game. We still only have 2 copies of the Mammoth expansion left. Like, we did very well. Signed some more stuff, met some more people, and the plan this day was, Aline loves roller coasters. It's like her favorite thing. And there's an amusement park nearby with a lot of roller coasters called Carowinds. And so we were planning the whole past 2 weeks that we were going to go to Carowinds. Like at 4:50, if no one was at the booth, we were going to start packing up, head upstairs, immediately hit the road, go to Carowinds, because it's a 30-minute drive. They close at 9. We're looking at the calendar. We're looking at the calendar. We're looking at the calendar. We get up to the room. She tries to buy tickets online. It's closed for a private event. She was so sad, and I felt so terrible. And, you know, I just kind of like tried to make her feel better and talk to her, and I knew there was nothing I could do or say, but I at least tried to think of something for us to do. So I thought of that go-kart place by the mall, by the Sea Life. And she loves go-karts, and B came with, and we bought a few tickets. We did mini golf, which I won by a large margin. We did the fun slide, which we bought a ticket for, but nobody was manning, so we went down it like 5 times. It was just a carnival slide, and then we did the go-karts. And aside from the fact that there was a lot of teen boys crashing into each other and us, it was a nice track, and the go-karts were fast, and it was a good time. It was a good go-kart run. And that was it. Then at that point, we went back to the hotel. We hadn't been in the pool yet, so we're like, let's go swimming. It's a hot, muggy day. Water was very cold. The girls liked it, but I'm terrible with cold, so I immediately knew I was going to be in the pool less than they were. The water smelled weird. It didn't taste chlorine, and it didn't taste salty, so it must have been saline-based, but I don't think they were cleaning it enough, because the water was also cloudy. I don't know. I didn't feel super clean. Definitely took a shower after that. But what did happen was Aline found a dollar bill in the pool and kept excitedly talking about her pool dollar. And then like 5 minutes later at the deep end, I found a pool dollar. And I got excited that I had a pool dollar, and we made $2 to go swimming. We tried to find one for B. I just found a bandage that I picked up. No other dollars, so that's a bummer. Got out, just sat by the pool for like 30 minutes because at that point the weather was super nice. The water cooled us down. It was just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Went upstairs, rinsed off, put on clothes. We were going to this Mexican restaurant nearby. And we're just going to get a meal and some margaritas and then just talk to people the rest of the night. So we got a meal. I got chori pollo. The chicken was great. The beans were great. The rice was great. The chorizo was a little under-seasoned, and that's the only negative I can say, because the salsa was great, and the chicken quality was like super good. Some of the best chicken I've had in a while. And the margaritas were huge for not a massive price, so that was nice. We got ice cream at some branded place that I'm not going to talk about because it feels illegal with all the branding that they have all over the walls, but it was good ice cream. Went back and just stood outside and talked to fans and a couple of the authors that were still awake. And there was a huge downpour and everyone was having a great time. Slowly people started trickling out. I gave everyone a big old hug, and I went up early again because I'm a little baby that needs my sleep. Took another shower, like a real shower as opposed to just rinsing off from the pool. climbed in bed, and slept in until like 10 o'clock because checkout was noon. Made 2 trips. Packed up. Hit the road. Super smooth. Like, super smooth. I didn't stop to pee. I was back in road trip mode, so I didn't stop to pee for a while. We hit it before we got off what we thought was going to be a side road, because we had to take a side road down, but we didn't up, so there must have been an accident. But we stopped at this, like, rest stop in Virginia that looked more like a campground. It was surrounded by the most beautiful wooded mountains. We were right next to a highway. It was the freshest air I've sniffed in a while. It just looked really, really nice. I almost wish I knew that existed beforehand so I could have planned a picnic. I'm not kidding. Like, it was wonderful. Hit the road again. I drove until we were out of gas, and I pulled off at just coincidentally whatever the next gas station would be once I hit the last bar in the gas, because that still leaves me like 50 miles. It's fine. Pulled off, and it's the same gas station I tried stopping at to pee on Thursday. Their bathroom worked this time, and everyone got to use it. And we were kind of hungry because we hadn't eaten it all that day. We got this roadside barbecue, like pulled pork sandwiches, and it was pretty good. It was cheap. And it was like clearly like this small independent family that owns this gas station, this restaurant. Loved supporting them. They had little tchotchkes and like collectibles in there. They were fun to look at. Nothing I needed. Blaine took over, and we had a smooth drive home. Pat, dropped me off at home. We got home, unloaded, saw our rats, saw the cat, and that was the end of the trip. And the next day, I'm getting messages. I'm getting orders for movies. More people are signing up for Steve Buster, and everyone keeps on like sending me messages or posting in the Discord channel for them. Like, oh, it was so wonderful meeting you. It was so cool meeting you. You were awesome. Everyone was awesome. That panel was like the best panel, and it felt really, really good. And I wish I did that more often. That's the only like kind of pessimistic look of this, is that I'm lucky if I get a show like this once a year, and I wish I had a show like this like 3 times a year. I know that's selfish, but like it's so cool to be able to meet that many people that are that passionate, and you feel that energy, and it kind of makes everything that you do make sense and not feel like a waste. And it was a great time and a great experience. Once again, if anyone from that show is watching, thank you to all the fans of Authors and Dragons that made me feel like $1 million, even though I'm like $10 net value. And thank you to the Authors and Dragons again for hiring me for this movie, for trusting me with their baby, and like just for welcoming me basically into the family. The guy that had created Shingles was already saying, I hope we have a long relationship together, and I hope the same. That's it. There's not a message here. I just wanted to talk about the big convention, because that's something that filmmakers also do. And I don't really feel like anyone talks about any experience from a convention, good or bad. So this was a good experience. I want to share it. Shingles is still in post-production. Scott Lewis is working very hard. I'm about to start post-production on Amityville Christmas Vacation. Much smaller film. Much, like a Meowie size. But it's a silly idea that I really want to do, so we're doing it. Thanks to everyone that was with me at the show. B, Aline, Jenny. You were wonderful. Hope everyone had a great time. And for those of you still watching over half an hour later, while I'm naked, you're welcome. Again, SilverSpotlightFilms.com, SteveBuster.com for digital access, and Shingles is coming soon. I'm really excited to show this one to you guys. I hope you like it as much as they did.